And welcome back to another Pokemon team creation series from Daniel F. What is the Pokemon team of? Is it pronounced Eda? I'm gonna go Eda Clawthorne from Owl House. The series I know a little bit about. I've done like Luz before, or Luz, depending on what the pronunciation is. But I know Eda is like one of the other. She's described as the Deuteragonist, one of the other main characters of the series, though the witch that takes her in and becomes her mentor. She's noted to be one of the most powerful witches in the Boiling Islands, but is cursed with the curse of an owl beast. So, what is the team of this character? Let's get into it. She does have a pet slash companion, which is Owlbert, who is an owl. So, a Noctowl, being the only owl Pokemon we actually have right now, makes the most sense. Side note, we need another owl Pokemon. I mean, there's enough owls out there that we can do it, but that's not true. We also have Rowlet. Should note, we also have Rowlet. I would think, though, that all of her Pokemon probably are evolved, and I don't see Dartrix, or Decidueye really working out. But as I was about to say, we do have other owls. I believe there's the Eagle Owl, which is just a really big owl. Snow Owl is primed for a Pokemon. Why we don't have more owls, I don't know. But, that being said, moving on. Now, she is a witch, so witch-type Pokemon make the most sense. Right out the gate, Hatterene makes a lot of sense. It is probably the most witch Pokemon there is, save for one other that will be here in just a second. But it literally has the witch's hat. It's got a humanoid silhouette. Not necessarily it's a humanoid Pokemon, because it's actually not a very large Pokemon in terms of its actual body. What you see there is not its actual body. Its actual body isn't much larger than the, not Hatini, but the Milstage. It kind of extends itself out a bit. That being said, however, it is being a fairy psychic type means it is almost certainly the most mystically inclined. That being said, we also have Miss Magius, which is another witch Pokemon. It's a bit more the standard witch style Pokemon, though, being a ghost type, communing with spirits, all that. Now, that being said, there is one other witch magic-ish Pokemon on this list, but this leads us into the other things I wanted to look into her, because she does, there's particularly one, but these next two really just delve into some of the magic she uses, because she can use, God knows, all types of magic, including elemental magic like fire and water. So I went with Delphox, which, honestly, if you look at her hair real quick, is not a bad representation of her, although this isn't the hairstyle you'd want to use by comparison. There's another hairstyle she had which looked a lot closer. Still, Delphox, it's a mage, sorcerer, witch, if you will. Braxian's a bit more of a witch, but still. As for water, I just went with Simipour. Why? No real reason. I just wanted to choose something a little out of the box for her water-type Pokemon. She's shown shooting water out of her hands, but not, as far as I could tell, there wasn't any other implications of any major water-based spells. This is also put on the team for variety's sake, so she has a bit more balance to the team. And so, it's not a god-awful Pokemon. It's actually, hey, yeah, that's a good question. How strong is Simipour? That's a very good question. Let's find that out today on Jeopardy. Getting up my water Pokemon now. And Unova. So let's see here now. Water. How strong is Simipour? Where's its strengths lie? Specifically. Let's see. There we go. We're getting into Gen 5 here. Come on. Give me more. Give me more. Give me more. Give me all of them on. There we go. Simipour, actually, weirdly enough, Simipour's best strength is in its speed. It's got a 101 base speed stat. Now, it also does have decent attack stats. It's got a 98 in standard attack and a 98 in special attack. So it's actually got decent offensive stats and is a relatively fast Pokemon. Its weaknesses really are it's got 63 in both special defense and physical defense, which is on the lower side of the fence, but as long as you're not dipping below 50, it's not like the end of the world. Still, though, it's not a god-awful, and it kind of fits her vibe, I think. However, when I was looking her up, the last thing that came to mind was the owl beast that is cursed, is bound to her. This apparently is a demon that was wrapped up in a curse that bound it to her. And eventually she was able to overcome that. She was able to overcome that and be able to find this new merged harpy form from it when they basically kind of joined together. And so I knew something along the lines of the owl beast / the harpy form. That's what I wanted to end the team on. We, to this day, do not have a Harpy-based Pokemon. We got a lot of winged Pokemon, and a couple that kind of lent themselves to it, but until we get the Grease region, which is the rumor mill that's what Gen 10 is going to be, until we get the Grease-based region, we don't have a Harpy Pokemon right now. My guess, too, would be that the Harpy Pokemon's probably, if we might be either a regional bird or possibly like a standalone Pokemon, or maybe a branch evolution when we get the Harpy-based Pokemon. So I'm looking through them all, and I'm looking at, and it's really all coming down to design. It has to be a flying type, and the design has to lend itself, at least in concept, to a Harpy. What I ultimately settled on, Tornadus Therian form. Now, Tornadus Therian form is actually based on the Vermilion bird, the Phoenix, from the Chinese legend of the 4 compasses and the 4 animals that guard the compass. The tiger, the azure dragon, the white tiger, what was it? I want to say it's the Vermilion bird, and I can't remember what the tortoise is. Is it the purple tortoise or something like that? Regardless. So yeah, and that's in essence what all of the weather quartet are based off when they're in their Therian forms. They're based off the 4 because Thundurus is supposed to be the dragon. We know Landorus is based off has a tiger design. This is the Phoenix, and Enamorus is supposed to be the turtle, even though it has a snake on top of it as well. So now that being all said, when you look at this, it's not too dissimilar from a Harpy. It definitely, let me put it this way. If you were to tell someone that Harpy was at least part of the inspiration of this without knowing what its inspiration was, you could say, okay, it's not exactly what I would do, but I could see it. So on that front, I would say it can qualify. Plus, she was considered among the strongest witches in the Boiling Islands. So her having a legendary on the team, I think, does work. Now, what does this do for the team's balance? Well, this team does have a problem with ice types with the 2 flying types. It has a problem with electric types with the 2 flying and the water type. It's got a problem with the rock types with the fire and the 2 flying types. It's got a problem with ghost types with the 2 psychic types and the ghost type. And it's got a problem with dark with both the psychic and the ghost type. However, that being said, it is very strong against grass types, having 2 flyers and a fire type. It's got a solid advantage against bug types as well. Same relatively 3, 2 flying, 1 fire. It's actually not bad against poison types either, having 2 psychic type on the team. And it cleaves through fighting types because you got 2 flying types, you got 2 psychic types, and a fairy who's a psychic as well. And not to mention, if you want to get technical, you've also got the advantage of having a ghost type, which is immune to fighting type moves. Now, with all that being said, however, how balanced, as always, is this team? And remember, we go from top, so Noctowl right here, to bottom with Therian form right here, Tornadus. That is the order in which she catches this. Each gym, she gets a new mon. Unfortunately, with Kanto, Hoenn, and Sinnoh, you start with Rock type as the gym. So right at the gate, you are struggling hard. But Brock is the first gym leader for a reason. His team is disgustingly easy because even if you get Highball the best efforts on his teams, the chances are you could, even with something like Hoot Hoot, which is what you would have at this point, beat him. And what helps immensely is the fact that you can put these things under hypnosis. Now, unfortunately, if we look up Hoot Hoot's move pool real quick here, where are we at for okay, flying Hoot Hoot. I always liked Hoot. It was just always a nice design, a little clock owl. And Hoot Hoot's best stats are that it's bulky, it's got good physical defense and some HP, or at least special defense. But Hoot Hoot's, 1 second here. I want to go down back here. Hoot Hoot's, in terms of what it can learn early on, it depends on what era you get Hoot Hoot. Moves have changed, like Nidoran, what I did in the last video last week. And moves change, unfortunately, for it. Like, for example, as of Gen 9, it doesn't learn Hypnosis until level 36? Are you freaking kidding me? Hold on 1 sec. That can't be right. No, that's what it says. Let me check. I want to actually check base Gen 2. Or at least, let me go Heart Gold, so Gen 4, or remake Gen 2 real quick here. That's bull. They did this to Nidoran 2 where they took double kick, something you can learn before it evolved, and bumped it all the way to 25. Hoodoo could learn hypnosis at level 9 back in the day. And now it can't learn it until its second to last natural learned move before it evolves at 36. That is a load of crap. That is an absolute load. But what I can say towards that, however, is that it can learn now Confusion at level 9. So, while I don't like the fact they completely took away its ability to use hypnosis early on. Look, it's fine if you want to make it later, but make it like before it evolves. Hoodoo evolves at level 20. Make it level 18 or level 15 or something. Not level 20. And that means Noctowl, hold on here. That means Noctowl itself doesn't learn freaking hypnosis until level what? Probably a little earlier in its level, I'm guessing. No, level 48? Are you nuts? My guess is the only reason it got pushed so high is A, because more moves have been introduced that give it some help, and B, because it doesn't miss. Like, it has perfect accuracy. So like Hoodoo does not. So that, you know what, that has to be why they did it, because it has perfect accuracy now. It does not miss. Because I believe it used to. Doesn't anymore. It doesn't have if you look at the stat for hypnosis now, it's got no accuracy. Like, it doesn't have 95, 100. It basically does not miss. So, yeah. Okay, so on that front, I guess I can understand it, because you apparently didn't nerf Hoot Hoot. You amped hypnosis. So, and then you decided to swap with Confusion, which does, however, mean you should be able to beat both Brock's Pokemon without a great deal of difficulty, because they lack in special defense. Granted, Hoot's stats aren't great, but still, they lack in special defense. And then, honestly, for the rest, you're not going to have a problem, honestly, until you get all the way to Elite Four. You should be able to handle Misty without too much difficulty. You'll definitely be able to handle Surge. Even though you got 3 of your team members weak to Electric, you can handle Surge without that much difficulty, because the back half is weak to electricity. Only your Noctowl is weak in your first 3. Once you get Braixen, you should be able to handle Erica, no problem, and you still have Noctowl. At that point, then, you have 2 Psychic types plus a Ghost type. You should be able to handle Koga, even though the Poison typing is strong against the Fairy typing. Sabrina's no problem. Blaine's no real big issue, because at this point you now have Tornadus on your team. Even Giovanni's not a problem. Simipour alone should be able to handle a giant chunk of his team. Now, that being said, Miss Maggie's, I believe, has Levitate as well, so you should be able to handle that as well. And Delphox, even though being fire, is also psychic, so you should be able to handle it. It's not until you get to Elite Four that you run into an issue, and it's not Lorelei, because you honestly have enough in terms of versatility to handle her ice and water types. It's not Bruno, it's Agatha, because her team is combination poison and psychic. And your 3 Psychic type Mon have no real strength against her Psychic Mon, or her Ghost Mon. And not only that, you got to add on Poison, so that's going to be a little difficult to deal with. But you should be able to handle it. Lance is not that big of a problem. It's Gen 1, so even his team, even though, he's got mostly dragons, Hatterene should be able to handle a giant bulk of that. And you still got, again, Therian 4 and Tornadus. Blue is tricky. Alakazam is kind of stronger than everything but Therian mode, Tornadus, and Delphox. Otherwise, you're just going to have to try to bring it down, and you're probably going to lose Noctowl in the process at minimum. Then he brings out Pidgeot, which ironically, this team with 2 flyers and 2 relatively good flyers has no answer to flying. So you're just going to hope and pray that you can knock that thing out. Rhydon, the only thing you have an answer for with Rhydon is Simipour. Hopefully that has not died. If it has died, good luck. You should be able to get through it, but you're probably going to lose them on. And then after that, it's just a random crapshoot of either Gyarados, Arcanine, Exeggutor, and then the starter he goes up against. And while you should be fine with some of them, Delphox is going to go down to the water starter, or the water Pokemon, no matter what. And then Executor is weird. If you've still got Simipour, it's going to take that down. And Arcanine is just a good Pokemon. And then you got all the starters. So I'm not saying it's impossible for Blue. I'm going with a maybe. Johto, honestly, your only real gym issue is going to be Whitney. Because especially if you go with Gen 4, Milk Tank has Scrappy, which means it can hit ghost types. So Miss Magius, not being protected from Stomp, and it's still got Rollout. It wouldn't be impossible to take down, but it is a roadblock to say the least. After that, though, you're really going through the entire Elite Four. Like all the gyms, even Claire isn't really an issue, especially because you should be fully evolved on everything here at that point. And you still have a legendary. Most of the Elite Four is no problem, up until you get the Lance, who's the champion. Lance is the only one that you're really going to struggle with, because this time, even though Hatterene is still a fairy type, he's also got Aerodactyl, Gyarados, and Charizard. And they're probably taking that thing down quick. Because unfortunately, what Hatterene has in special abilities, it lacks completely in speed. And if that's the case, then you are going to be going toe-to-toe with outraging Dragonites all day. Again, I don't think it's impossible. I just don't know if it's likely. Then Hoenn, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think you can get past Roxanne, even with Hoot knowing Confusion. The minute you get hit with a Rock Tomb, that Hoot goes down. So I think, honestly, it's a no-go. That being said, if you can't get past it, you can make it all the way, no joke, to the Elite Four. You then get hit by a roadblock with Phoebe, who's a Ghost-type Elite Four member. And you're going to struggle. You're just going to struggle. And Drake, even though you've got a Fairymon on the team, Drake has enough coverage to take that thing down. Like a Flygon or Earthquake will probably take that thing down. And they're fast. Every mon he has is faster, too. And a Mega Salamence, if we're going Omega Ruby and Sapphire, Mega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Mega Salamence, that thing is going to speed blitz that entire team. That thing is a monster. And then if you were to get to Steven, if you can just keep Delphox alive, you surprisingly wouldn't have that much of a problem. But frankly, I don't think you get past Roxanne. So no on Roxanne. And unfortunately, no on Sinnoh, because I don't think you get past Rorik. Rorik has 3 Rockmon on the team against the Hoot of all things. Even with weak special defenses, it's not like you're getting stabbed with a Confusion, and it's not like they have a type weakness. So I don't think you get past that. And again, in a hypothetical where you did, you would probably struggle with Voctor because he is an electric type specialist with non-electric mon on the team, so that's problematic. You're going to struggle actually a little bit with Bertha, even though she's a ground rock trainer. The fact that she's got rock means that 3 of your mon are in trouble. And that Simipour, as you clutches, it will kind of come in for a little bit. It's not going to last forever. It just doesn't have the stats to do like 1-hit KO damage usually. Then after that, you basically deal with Cynthia. Now, Cynthia is a weird one. If you were to match up with Cynthia, Hatterene being a fairy type means Spiritomb is not just going to have a free run. The problem is that Spiritomb a ghost type, and it still should be able to take down the Hatterene. I believe Spiritomb just has better stats than Hatterene does. And the dark ghost type is still a fantastic typing. Now that being said, Gastrodon, Milotic, Roserade, none of them are overly strong against this team. Yeah, the Delphox is going to go down to either water type, but you actually could manage up until Lucario comes out. And by the time Lucario comes out, you're going to be down a lot of the mon who could be able to do something against it. You still have Tornadus, but it's also part steel, so that's neutral. And then Garchomp is there. And yeah, it's a tough go. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it's a tough go. But that being said, you wouldn't get past Rorik anyway, in my opinion. In Unova, you'd struggle with Roxy in Black and White too. You wouldn't hit any real problems though until Lisa. Because you won't have a fully evolved Delphox, you won't have a fully evolved Hatterene, you will still have a Miss Magius because it is a stone evolution. And Noctow's fully evolved, but weak to electric. So it's really Braxian. I can never remember the full. This really annoys me. I can never actually remember the evolutionary line's name. It's Hatini, and Hatney, I think it is Hatini, and then Hatterene. Is that it? I can never actually remember it. But anyway, I digress. It doesn't really matter. You still have the middle stage of the Hatterene line. That would be problematic to deal with. It would, because those Omogos are fast and hit hard. And Zebstrika still has Wild Charge, if not mistaken. And I gotta speed this up a little bit. I'm running low on battery. So you would again, Iris and Drake would also be problematic as well. But that's about it until you get to Elite Four. The Ghost type Elite Four member, who I always forget in Unova, that is going to be a little problematic, more definitely. And then if you're talking about the champions, you actually stand a good shot at beating Alder because he has 3 bug types on the team, which you are very strong against. And their secondary typings, at least with Excavalier and Volcarona, aren't that problematic for this team. It's Iris where you don't really have a good matchup. 3 dragons, Aggron is rock steel, so it's neutral to fire. Lapras, you don't have a good answer for Lapras. And Archeops, no good answer. So I don't think you can beat her. You might be able to beat Alder, though. And Kalos, honestly, you'd struggle immediately with Grant. Hatterene the Hatterene evolutions don't have the stats to really go up against those very well. Granted, Tyrant is a dragon type, so if you have Disarming Voice, you can take it down, but Aurorus is problematic. If you can get past that, though, you should also be able to make it through the entire gym challenge. Even the Elite Four isn't that bad. Diantha, though, will be tricky. Halucha, you should be able to take down with a Psychic move. But then you got Tyrantrum. Hatterene comes out, but Tyrantrum's faster. It's getting a first hit in, and it's going to be a heavy hit, either a head smash or something, or a crunch or whatever. Hatterene might not take it down in the first hit, which means I think Hatterene goes down. You would eventually be able to take it out, but then the Aurorus comes in. You use Delphox against that. The problem is, once you're down about half your team, her Gudra is a tank. It's a beefy mon, so you're going to struggle. And then you also have a Mega Evolution Gardevoir. I'm going to say it's a maybe, but not likely. Galar, I'm going to tell you right now, you lose once you get to the Rock-type gym leader. And even if you get past that, Raihan and Leon, again, Aegislash is problematic against this team. Right out of the gate. The only thing you got is Delphox. And then you got to deal with the Dragapult, which will own almost the entirety of this team. Maybe Delphox got enough beef to handle it, or maybe Hatterene, but otherwise it's going to just get wiped out. So, yeah, no, you can't be the champion of Galar. And honestly, no joke, Paldea is a sweep, believe it or not. Your first 2 gyms, Hoodoo/Noctowl's got the edge. Even Iona's not that big of an issue this time around. You can handle the rest of the gyms, no problem. And even the Elite Four is not that big of an issue here because you have good type matchups against everything, and a lot of their mon are slow. Even the champion Gita is not that impressive based on when she brings out King Gambit. If she saved that thing for last and made that her ace, there'd be bigger problems. But she doesn't. So overall, that's my thoughts. That's the team. What do you think? Do you like it, or would you do something different? Let me know. Till then, thanks for watching. See you later.